August 6th marks the 78 years since the US dropped an atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima, killing up to 120,000 people. This year's anniversary holds extra significance as it comes under the shadow of nuclear threats from Russia and North Korea. Survivors of the bombing pray that nothing like it will ever happen again. Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
The atomic dome in Hiroshima's Peace Park, a symbol and reminder of the destruction humankind can wreak. This structure survived the atomic bomb dropped on the city in 1945, 3 days before the city of Nagasaki was also targeted by the United States. Suichi Kida was there on that day. He and his family survived, but his face was burned and he saw his mother blown 20 meters into the air by the explosion. He fears the catastrophe might be repeated.
The world is seeing survivors like myself pass away and become few in number, but now everyone on this planet also risks becoming a witness to an atomic bombing.
Japan's government has adopted a role of global leadership against nuclear war. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida chose Hiroshima to host this year's G7 summit and used the opportunity to call for an end to nuclear arms. This comes amid persistent missile tests by North Korea as Pyongyang refines its nuclear technology, and Russia's nuclear saber-rattling over the Ukraine conflict.
There's a high possibility of both sides using nuclear weapons in the war in Ukraine. Russia's threat to use nuclear bombs is unacceptable, but I believe NATO is the same against Russia, and that's an organisation that should have been discontinued at the end of the Cold War.
As the only country to have experienced it, the concept of nuclear attacks is still raw for many people in Japan. 70% of A-bomb survivors believe that holding the G7 in Hiroshima made a significant contribution towards a nuclear-free world. However, Japan has not yet signed a UN treaty prohibiting nuclear weapons. The anniversary also coincides with the US release of the summer blockbuster film Oppenheimer, which tells the story of the scientist who helped create the bomb. Distributors have not announced a Japan release date, and questions remain if it will be screened in the country at all. Many visitors to Hiroshima's Peace Park had not heard of it, but commented on whether they'd watch it.
There will be plenty of people who won't want to see it. I think there are a lot of people, like the bereaved families, who would be critical and wouldn't agree with showing it.
There are still victims of the bombing and bereaved families around, so I think it's possible for the film not to be shown out of consideration for those people's feelings.
The day will be commemorated with a peace ceremony and release of doves in the morning, and the annual floating of lanterns through Hiroshima's canals in the evening, carrying prayers and wishes of peace in a world without nuclear destruction. Gilbert in Tokyo, reporting for DD India.
Moving to Europe now, the British government on Saturday announced a new partnership between